money. It still makes the world go around, and is even more vital when it quite literally equals your Terraria attack power. With us previously slogging our way painfully through the early game, fully exploring the potential stonkage of the Eye of Cthulhu, and then losing all of it to the greediest worm the land has ever seen. So today's really going to be about bouncing back and hopefully taking our wealth, and therefore damage, to staggering new heights. So without further ado, let's continue where we left off. Oh, and only like 19k more to go, guys. Ooh. Also, it was just too awesome, I had to mention this new Terraria t-shirt in the Terraria shop. Get yourself a discount with code SOCK, yeah. Continuing from last time, we're sort of back in the pit, with our damage multiplier reading a measly 71% now. All is good there, as even with this damage nerf, a blade of grass is still a blade of grass, and should easily pack enough punch to help us climb back into the positive and give the worm a rematch. So for now, let's go with a good old explore underground, with our first priority being simply finding as many suspicious eyes and loot to sell as physically possible, which with this spider nest was off to a beautiful start.
Oh hey, it was all worth it.
Saying this, however, while we were underground, I realised we might as well kill two birds with one stone. So after returning home, I got to work on our soon-to-be elevator, which with some spellunkers consumed, was sure to soon give us a plethora of riches. And well, yeah, just like that, we had our health maxed out and some more spare loot to sell for damage. And this continued for a while, with us only returning home for a quick Cthulhu fight now and again, which was weirdly more difficult than last time. Of course, this was just temporary though, as with the rate we were selling Demonite bars, it was looking like we would be financially stable in no time.
Yeah, life crystals sold for a load actually.
And yeah, I was kind of desperate, so say goodbye to the snowball cannon. Okay, back underground, I did actually bump into someone rather interesting.
Oh, yes. Ow.
Yeah, this guy. Someone who would be the definition of a double-edged sword through this entire playthrough.
I'm not buying anything.
So it is a good job I had the guts just to completely ignore him and not get the temptation to spend less money on a reroll than the damage I'd get in return. Wait, no, Sock, what are you doing?
Are you ready?
Well,
no,
that didn't take
one
long,
more.
did it? And it's a good job it all worked out in the end, because we were starting to make some serious bank, but I desperately needed to hang on to and be really careful with.
Oh, you kidding me? I literally diffused it and everything.
Okay, don't worry guys, there was not a single Eater of Worlds in sight, so we got it all back. On the topic of death though, as we finally enter the underworld, these kind of silly deaths are the exact thing I've got to learn to avoid, because in hard mode, we would have just lost everything right there.
Slime is falling from the sky.
Let's live in the moment for now though, because we had other things to worry about, like this slime rain, which although seemed kind of pointless at first, one small pinky boy quickly shifted my priorities on that one.
Oh my god!
And so after blitzing through the event, making pretty good bank, and killing the King Slime for the first time, with all our riches exchanged for cash, we had once again made it into the positive, and we're pretty much back to where we were at our peak last episode. And I guess God wanted to apologise for all the misfortune last time, with this wonderfully well-timed golden squirrel catch, which just like that,
Yes! Oh, the stonkage!
whomped our damage up by another 10%. Man, we are back. So I guess this could only mean one thing. It was a rematch time. And so with us heading right on over there to craft our worm food summon, I was absolutely raring to go. So let's buff up and give it another crack. Starting off, things were a little dangerous like last time, but luckily, with our multiplier beginning to skyrocket from all these money drops, we very quickly became self-sufficient, meaning the damage I was taking was immediately filled back up in the form of health drops. And just like that, we'd only gone and done it.
And a meteorite to top it off.
Not only was the Eater of Worlds down, but we had managed to hold on to all our riches in the process. And trust me, this was only the beginning, as things were about to get a lot greener from here, if you know what I mean. Okay, first things first, let's go see about that meteorite, as A, having a space gun will scale extremely well with our damage multiplier, and B, I wanted an excuse to sell all our demonite bars for some sweet dollar.
We're doing 40 damage with a space gun.
And so with a load of meteorite in hand, and our infinite firing space gun equipped, it was time to jump up that multiplier into the stratosphere, with our damage now starting to approach the 200% mark. Unreal. So what was next for us? Well, I think for a few reasons, Skeletron was up, as I expect him to be easy to defeat with a overclocked space gun, and of course the reward of an entire dungeon should present us many more money generating methods. And so with our expansive arena constructed, we were already pretty much ready to go. Just let me sell a few more things first for some extra damage. Okay, let's do this. And well, yeah, if you were expecting a challenging Skeletron fight, unfortunately
really
you've come to the wrong place, with our almost double damage infinite ammo space gun absolutely ripping this thing to shreds.
No!
Funny enough though, in usual sockrteez fashion, I somehow made hard work out of this, with us unironically coming close to death twice.
I've done it again. Go away, zombie! Why are the zombies trying to screw with me?
All was good in the end though, with us taking Skeletron down in record time. Nice one. And this was a big moment for us, well, in pre-hard mode at least, as it opened up the first potentially lucrative money farm that was actually worth the hassle setting up. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves though, because before anything else, we needed to get down there and find a suitable space for operation, which actually took forever.
Oh, it happened!
As although we were packing one hell of a punch at this point, I had sort of pushed our survivability to the side, meaning situations like this weren't impossible. Oh, and not to mention the insane amount of time I spent trying to find this damn invisible passageway. Either way though, the spoils from down here were genuinely delightful, with not only getting a bunch of crazy high damaging weapons, thanks to our multiplier, but also a bunch more things to sell and eyes to fight. You see, the snowball was truly snowballing at this point.
How many blazing flipping wheels?
And it was about to become fully industrialized, as although we were sat on double damage at this point, which is all well and good, even before considering the wall of flesh fight, I wanted to establish at least a triple damage multiplier going into hard mode, as it's not like we were going to hang on to all the cash.
Oh.
So how are we going to get all these coins going forward? Aha, none other than a classic layer farm. Now, building this wasn't as straightforward as it sounds, as although we could mine some surface green brick, as we were still on the nightmare pickaxe, we couldn't alter anything in the dungeon itself. Luckily though, this large intersection of rooms offered plenty of space for not that to be a problem, and after a bit of time transforming this area, it was time to test it out.
Look at all this stuff. That's not spawn.
Which, if I'm honest, did worry me a bit at first, but after figuring out the most optimal place to stand, we were truly up and running. And just like that, had an endless income of coins coming our way. And you know, after spending a good hour down there farming, although enemy coin drops were pretty good, the true stonks were to be made selling bone ones and tally counters. Like, I'm telling you, this is an untapped business right here. As selling a few of these alone could easily get me another 10% damage buff, which is genuinely like a full-on hard mode emblem accessory. So yeah, things were finally going well, and with us getting ever so close to that triple damage multiplier, I started to consider my weapon options for the wall himself, which if I'm honest, I was spoilt for choice for.
That thing is gonna rip.
Which after looting my entire dungeon of its remaining chests, kind of made me come to the conclusion that everything would be more than powerful enough at this point, which compared to where we were just a few hours ago, was a lovely problem to have. Righto, with a bunch more stuff sold to our merchant, we finally reached my goal of a 300% damage multiplier, which meant it was time to head to hell and prep for the big fight. First though, it was time to get some hellstone upgrades, as I don't know why I went through the pain of using primitive tools for this long. However though, armor-wise, I think I'm going to stick with my meteorite, as although the extra defense would be nice, you just can't go wrong with an infinite ammo ranged weapon, which at this point was dealing like 80 damage a shot. Yeah, we scaled alright. I'll tell you what though, although all seemed well at this point on the surface, it didn't take much to humble us.
These are really bleeding expensive.
As the reality was, we genuinely still couldn't afford the damage down just for some planter boxes. So I guess we're still making our Hellbridge the old-fashioned way then, which if I'm completely honest, I have no idea if we'll even need to utilize at all. Like, I guess our space gun is turned up to 11, but just by how much? Anyway, enough rambling, because I think we're about to find out, as it was finally time to summon the wall. Oh, for God's sake.
Flipping Nora.
Let's just not talk about it, because luckily, I was right in saying it wouldn't matter anyway, with our damage output being off the charts insane. Like, the fact I haven't cleared any of the left side and we were destroying it says it all. And well, literally within 20 seconds, the wall was down.
There we go.
God damn, money's a lovely little thing. Let's not mess about right now though.
And I'm putting that damn money away.
Because things were about to get real. So ring that bell so you don't miss part 3.